Welcome to The Growth Equation. This isn't your typical business podcast. We're keeping it real about the challenges of scaling up, period. I'm Tristan Wright and I've been there. I've built and scaled my own business. I've sold it. I've learned a ton along the way. Now I'm bringing you the no BS stories of founders who are in the trenches right now, navigating that messy middle. We're talking advertising, marketing, design, creative, branding, the whole 9 yards. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or running a team of 100. Everyone's got a secret sauce. That thing that makes them different, better. We're going to uncover it. So grab a coffee and let's get real. Today we're talking with Joseph from the Prophecy brand. Joseph, welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, this is my first podcast interview, so this is exciting.
Awesome. Oh, lucky you. So I've been really looking forward to having a chat with you and learning a bit more about your business and also your journey, because we had a chat a couple of weeks ago and you've got a really, really interesting story to share.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, it's not every day I hear that. A lot of people tell me I talk too much. So,
well, that's the purpose of a podcast. It's for people to talk and share and in our case, help others in business from our learnings. Can you, I guess, go back to where it all started in the business world or your professional world? What did that look like? And let's walk through the journey to where you are today.
Okay, so it's actually, I think it's an interesting story. So I actually, when I first went to college, I was going to college for theater. And I don't know if you remember this show, but there used to be a show called The Hills that came on MTV. And so that's where like PR came into my world, into my reality. And because I've always known that if I had the option, I wanted to work in the fashion industry, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew for sure that I did not want to be a fashion designer. No, it's not an option. And so PR, marketing, and brand management, once I found that, I kind of barreled in that direction. I changed my major in college. I started interning for a designer called Baca de Silva, who now teaches at Academy of Art University, which is interesting. And from there, I worked with him. He introduced me to a bunch of people. I then worked for Kelly Catrone. She introduced me to Alexander McQueen. And I mentored with him. And from there, I would say that my career actually started for me when I started working at SBE in Los Angeles, because I worked there for 5 years. During that 5 years, I learned so much about just the entertainment industry at large: events, nightlife, marketing, PR, fashion, movies. I got flooded with so much experience so quickly, and I also started my first PR business called Sassy PR, and you know, my first year in business, I made $1 million. And yeah, from an agency, my first year in business, that wasn't net. And I kept my job working at SBE, and then, you know, I was just so caught up in. Because I went from being someone who did not have a lot of money to suddenly just having access to a lot of money very quickly. So my life did not have a lot of balance. Either I was working too much or I was playing too much. I didn't really have a lot of balance.
It would have impacted your personal life significantly, having all of that money, because you didn't know what to do with it, and I'm sure you probably spent it in bad places.
Yes. Yes. And on people, clubs, people I thought were my friends that wasn't. And then I had a business partner who I was really trusting at the time to take care of my finances. You know, he invoiced all the companies. I just focused on the strategy, the work, which is what I was good at. The finances he took care of. He ended up taking all of my money.
Wow. Yeah.
And never to be seen again. And never saw the man again. Never got the money back. Never got in contact with him. And then after that had happened, I was trying to keep my business going and still do it. And I was so in a rush to get clients because a lot had happened very quickly, and we lost a lot of our clients because I couldn't pay my employees.
Yeah.
So I couldn't maintain everything. So this one, I met a new designer. He told me that he was, he wanted help, and he had the money, so he wrote me a check. And something told me not to cash his check. And I actually did not need the money, but I didn't listen. I went to go cash a check. I got arrested. By the time the woman came back and gave me my check and the ID, she touched my arm and she said, by the way, the check was fake. I was already in cuffs and they took me to jail.
Yeah, wow.
Yep, and this was in 2014. I was in jail for what? No, it was in 2013. I was in jail for literally 1 year and 1 day.
What did you do wrong to get you in jail? Because
He gave me a check. I didn't know the check was fake, and I went to go cash that check.
And that was what put you in jail.
That was what put me in jail. It didn't matter that they didn't care that I didn't know the check was fake. The fact is, I still tried to cash it.
Wow. Jeez.
Yep.
That would have turned your life upside down.
It did. I was still working at SBE at the time, and Sam Narazian, I can't never pronounce his last name correctly. He still owns SBE. He was the boss at the time. He was my direct boss, and one of my direct bosses. I ended up speaking to him from jail, and he was like, "Well, I'll speak to you in a year when you get out of jail." And he just hung up the phone, and I would say that was one of the situations in my life that completely broke me. Like, I was broken. Like, as a person, I felt broken. Interesting enough, when I got out of jail, I ended up coming to Colorado, and basically where I am right now. I lived in Colorado for 2 years, and then I started a fashion blog called Fashion and Revolt, and it did really well for a very long time. And then I was doing brand partnerships. I even got a few PR clients. I was doing really well. Just from having Fashion and Revolt. I think for the 4 years that I had it, the first year I made 80,000. The second year the second and third year I made over 230,000. But by year 4, there was no revenue coming in from Fashion and Revolt. So then I kind of just let it go. I regret that a lot, just letting Fashion and Revolt go, because it was an online blog that was entirely created for me, curated. I wrote everything. I took all the pictures. I did everything myself, and it was an amazing experience. And I often still think about it. From there, I created another PR agency, which then turned into Prophecy Brand, which is the agency that I have now. And Prophecy Brand, I feel like, is a love letter to myself. From everything that I've gone through and everything that I've just experienced just living. And I put everything I know about self-development, everything that I've experienced with myself, trying to encourage myself to be a better version of myself, that's all kind of reflected in what Prophecy Brand is now.
Yeah, wow. So tell me, what does Prophecy Brand actually do?
So we do everything in the spaces of marketing, PR, brand management, specifically for fashion, beauty, entertainment, and wellness brands. We stick to those verticals. Anything within those verticals that a brand may need, we take care of in the area of brand management, marketing, PR, content creation. Basically, we're a creative agency, and that's what we do. I like to tell people that we tell stories, and when I say that, I don't mean like, how a lot of people talk about, brand storytelling. No, I mean legitimately, like how an author writes a book. That's how we treat a brand story.
Yeah. How big is the team? Is it just you? Have you got a few people working with you?
So right now the team is just me and 2 other people, and then actually on the team. So I have Lakeisha, who is my VP of a talent, and then I have Chance, who is she's a creative director, but she's also a consulting producer when we work on projects together. So yeah, that's my team for now.
Yeah, awesome. So, okay, you've been through a really interesting journey. You've worked with lots of big names. You've set up a business, first year, did $1 million. You've had the highs, the lows. You've been to jail. You've rebuilt yourself, and you've got your own brand that's basic, as you said, a love letter to yourself. So you're totally connected to your business. I've never heard someone say that my business is a love letter to myself. So I want to understand that. Why is it, and why is it a love letter to yourself?
Prophecy brand has changed so much since its initial inception, and I feel like when I initially created Prophecy brand, it was like any other PR agency where you had the same boilerplate copy. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is how much we charge. But there was nothing beyond. There was nothing beyond that. There was nothing that when you came to the website, if you read an article, you would feel something.
Yeah.
It didn't feel human. It felt very planned, very staged. Yeah, and I realized that a lot of agencies, a lot of businesses in general, that the world is based off that, and when I decided that okay, I no longer want to do freelance, I want to actually turn Prophecy brand into an actual agency. It was important for me to tell my story, and it took me a while to really figure out what that was. What is my story? How can I tell my story through Prophecy brand? And how I did that was just to write articles about my perspective of what consciousness means to me. My journey of healing, going from where I was to where I am now, not within the world, not with the success, but just within myself. And that's why Prophecy brand is a love letter to myself, because I'm Prophecy brand. Like if you read some of my articles, Prophecy brand is a consciousness that is witnessing my internal growth, and then that internal growth that Prophecy brand is witnessing, we're also applying that to, putting that in articles about, based in thought leadership about what is actually happening within the luxury market. Again, that's why it's a love letter to myself, because it's my healing journey, my journey of becoming a better version of myself, and market research put together.
Where do you see Prophecy brand going? Like 2 years time, 5 years time from now?
Where I see Prophecy brand going is, right now we don't have any clients, and that's very intentional, because I'm very selective of the brands that I work with. So where I see Prophecy brand going is, within the next 2 years, I would like to consistently have between 6 to 12 clients. And alongside of Prophecy brand, we have Prophecy brand's brother, which is Prophecy House, which is a cultural investment strategy house that I'm building under a holding company, much like Kering or LVMH, where they have a holding company and a bunch of luxury brands underneath. I just started the process of funding my fund for Prophecy House, and I just been accepted to work with the Post Oak Group, which is a investment banking firm in Houston. So I'm excited about that as well, and they're going to walk me through the whole funding process because they like my idea, and I'm really grateful about what's happening in my life right now. So that's what I see happening.
That's cool. So you said you're very intentional and you don't have clients right now. How do you fund your team? I'm assuming you've had clients previously that you're funding. How's that all looking? Because often a business can't survive without clients for a certain period of time.
Well, so the team that I have, so the one person Chance that's on my team, she's actually a really close friend of mine, and while she also, like, people on my team that have projects outside of Prophecy Brand as well that they're working on,
Yep.
while we are still building within Prophecy Brand. For instance, we do have talent right now, and the talent is bringing in revenue. I don't consider that Prophecy Brand's revenue, because the revenue that my talent bring in, it's specifically for them. So there is money coming into the business. It's just I wanted to restructure Prophecy Brand. Prophecy Brand to me had to really reflect the person that I am now and my values. So for now, like that's been the goal of restructuring. And now we recently just opened back up to now start, meeting with people to accept clients. I haven't chosen to work with anyone just yet, but I have some meetings coming up and I'm excited about it.
Cool. So learning from a business perspective, you've had a really varied journey. What are some of those learnings that you've had that have impacted, and this is a very open question, that have impacted or changed the way you're running your business or pointing the direction you're pointing your business in?
Wow, there's been so many, but I will speak about the most recent.
Yeah.
For me, the most recent has been, because I feel like self-value and self-worth, that's the thing that we consistently have to be intentional about as we move in the world. Because other people will see what we're doing and they'll have opinions, they'll have things to say, and it may change the value we see in ourselves versus in what we're doing. So I think for me, one of the recent changes that I just made is, so Prophecy Brand has talent, and people come to us and say, hey, we want this person to do this and whatever. And these invoices are 60 to 90 days out, meaning that the talent goes and work, but the agency doesn't get paid for the talent until sometimes 3 to 6 months after the work. So one of the things that I've implemented within my agency is that if you want my talent to do something, you need to pay before they work. You pay and then they work. Yeah. I'm the only agency with talent that's doing that. I also let go of the retainer-based pricing. I don't do that anymore. Meaning that my agency is not paid on a monthly retainer. We're paid so if you come to me with a project, I'm gonna give you and you say, okay, this project looks like it's going to be a year. I'm giving you for a price for a year. And that has to be paid. All of it has to be paid up front, or you can pay it and we can work out payment arrangement. But there is no monthly retainer. I see value in getting away from being a retainer-based agency.
Yeah. So you're basically giving them the project cost up front, and that they're having to agree to it and commit to it up front. So how has the market taken that? Like, have you shared that with people so far, or is that just the model that you're working towards?
So I have shared that with people, and so far the response that I've been getting has been very positive. Prophecy Brand is a little bit, my pricing is based on what I know that I can achieve for my clients, but I do not guarantee anything. And I feel like that's where the contention point is that because it's earned media, I don't guarantee. Well, they ask, what is my success rate for media relations? And I'll tell them it's 86%, which is pretty good. You know what I mean? And even still with that, I'm not going to guarantee you that you'll be on the cover of Vogue.
What do you wish Joseph of 5 years ago could learn from Joseph of today?
Joseph 5 years ago, I wish that he understood that. I wish that he understood that proximity to wealth isn't wealth. I wish that he understood just because you are around famous people, just because you are around, people in the fashion industry, just because you are around the glitz and the glam, that does not define who you are. And what you do does not define who you are. What you do is not your identity. Because if you make what you do your identity, people will take advantage of you.
Yep.
Because that's how you will measure value within yourself, by what you can do for others.
Yep. So, what's the alternative then? So what's the way that, so you shared what not to, what's the way to think, the logic to be thinking?
For me, it was understanding that marketing, PR, brand management is what I do. That's just what I do.
Yep.
And the person that I am, just who I am, the value of me does not come from what I do. Because I exist, I have value.
Yep. Yeah, so you're separating yourself out almost.
Exactly, and I think that's the difference for a lot of people because we associate things with our value. I can do this. I have this.
Yeah. So I spend a lot of time talking to my clients around separating out their personal identity from their business identity. Because who you are as a person is not who you are as a business and vice versa. So you've got to separate those emotions and feelings, even though they're very intrinsically tied to one another.
Exactly. I think for me, the way I've been able to do that in a healthy way is to like I write articles from the perspective of Prophecy Brand as if Prophecy Brand wrote the article.
Yep.
And in that sense, Prophecy Brand is witnessing Joseph's growth, or I'm stepping outside of myself and I'm seeing what is happening and I'm writing about it. And I'm like, oh, this is where the learning curve is for me.
Yep. Makes sense. Okay, so how are your clients going to be coming to you because they see your writing, or how you're on this journey? But how are clients coming to you now?
So clients are a lot of people reach out to me through Instagram, believe it or not.
Yep.
And then so a lot of my blog section of my website is actually is ranking very heavily. We're actually number 7. So when a lot of my articles are bringing people to my service page or bringing people to my profile page. So I'm getting inquiries that way too. Or sometimes someone will read an article that I wrote just about like luxury and how people's perspective of luxury and how that's changing, and someone will have a conversation about their brand just from that. So what I wanted to do personally was I wanted my thought leadership to be about what I do, but also about me as a person. So if you read anything I write, whether it's on Prophecy Brand or Medium, you understand me. You already understand me. I'm no longer a stranger to you.
You're already warm because they fully understand. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I love it. So you're sharing everything, so they know who you are, what you do, all of that sort of stuff before they even get in touch with you. That's the way to do it. So I do that. My equivalent is through the podcast. People get to know who I am before that they come. So they've already almost made the decision about whether they want to work with me or not, because I know what my personality is and how I work. So I do that through my podcast, through my blogs, and you're doing that through your blogs. All right. So is there ever a time that you wished you could change something that happened in the past?
No. Because I've learned, because the past is where all the information is.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from the decisions that I've made. And it's not even about going back and changing the past, because now I just look at life like this. Okay, I made that decision. And this is what happened from that decision. So you know what? Based on what happened from that decision, I have several other decisions I have to make or can make. So I'm grateful for the mistakes I've made. I'm grateful for the people who betrayed me. I'm grateful for the things that didn't happen, because there's the information, the answer, the clarity has always come. Always.
Yep. And it's just formed who you are today. So you wouldn't be who you are today without those activities. Anything that's happened in the past, you wouldn't be able to make the decisions that you've made without all of that knowledge, without all of those experiences.
Yeah.
All right. So if we wanted to give other business owners a piece of advice, for how to run their business, or how to separate their personal identity from their business, what sort of advice would you give another business owner?
I would say before, if you already have a business, and let's just say you're in a space of growing it, right? And you're, in that grind, and you're the only person staying in that narrative of whatever that business is. You have to be able to walk away from it and trust that the right people at the right time is going to see it. Because I feel like this is what a lot of business owners, their business becomes their entire personality. Where everywhere they go, they're talking about their business. This is because they're always trying to get a client. They want people. The more people that know that they feel like the more likely it is for them to have a client, for them to have someone that's paying them. And sometimes, yes, tell people what you do, but I've had the most experience not telling people what I do and having people just tell me what it is that they need, and then those conversations kind of organically happen. Because when you're so in someone's face about what you do and how you do it and why your way is such the right way, and people can tell that there is no separation between you and your business. Because before someone wants to work with you, they want to know who you are as an individual.
Yep. Yeah. That's perfect. So you couldn't have said it better. Like I was actually talking about this with a client just a couple of days ago, and or similar topic, he was out at an event, and he was having drinks with the business owner that was running the event, and that was a 300-person business. He had no idea that the person that he was talking to was the owner of the 300-person event that was putting on this 300-person business that was putting on this event. So this business owner was just being a normal person. And he found out after the fact, a couple of weeks later, that through the business owner's staff member, that he was talking to the business owner, because the staff member said, hey, we want to do business with you. Because that business owner got to know my client personally. So it's amazing. You just be who you are. Your business identity can be separate.
Yeah, it can. And I work very hard to keep Joseph separate from Prophecy Brand, which is why Prophecy Brand writes his own articles, and Joseph writes his own articles. And if you notice, the tone, the voice, it's completely different. And to me, that was a healthy way of me still being creative, me still wanting to being in Prophecy Brand's mindset and say, okay, this is what I have to say here, and this is what I have to say as me. And when I introduce people, I just introduce myself. I don't introduce what I do and how I do it. I just tell them who I am. If word comes up, great. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And organic is the way to go. That's it.
Mate, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. If people want to connect, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me on, go to prophecybrand.com. My Instagram is also the Prophecy Brand. The phone number's on the website. Also, have a Medium blog as well, where it's just strictly about me, my poetry, I write about self-development and the things I experience within my own sense of spirituality. So that's medium.com/King Odin with 2 O's. That's me.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.
That's a wrap. Thanks for tuning into The Growth Equation. If you've enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button and leave a review. It helps us big time. Catch you next time. And if you want more, head over to evolvetogrow.com.au for show notes and exclusive content.